Hey guys, this is Tauna. Today we're going to be talking about upgrading the Temur Roar precon. So this is the precon that's just come out, and I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of the actual precon out of the gate, but I know that some people like it. It is big dragons, and big dragons tend to go well. People tend to kind of, lean towards them. They're a very, very fun tribal, and I love them. Miirym is one of my favorite decks of all time, and I always love playing my Miirym deck and creating some really big dragons. Now, before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you share the video around, make sure you let me know what videos you want me to do. Also, give me any feedback on the lighting. It seems to be a lot better. I don't know. Maybe you guys agree with me. Maybe you don't. I don't know. So let's start off with Ureni the Unwritten. So I'm going to be building the precon around them because I think that, honestly, looking at the two kind of different commands, Ureni's the one that kind of suits it a bit better. It's got flying, got trample. Whenever they enter or attack, you're going to look at the top 8 cards of your library. You're going to put dragon creature from them onto the battlefield, and then get a huge dragon. Just cheat out extra dragons from there. The other option, obviously, is going to be the Eski that comes with the precon as well. I think that she's good if you're going to be casting a lot of big dragons, but I want to kind of cheat big dragons out because I like this. Now, I will say, like, one thing out of the bat that I do think that, honestly, Miirym is the better kind of commander here. I think that running Miirym as your commander is going to increase the power of this deck kind of exponentially. He's an absolutely bonkers commander, especially for, Team of Dragons. But if you want to kind of, keep the deck, or roughly, you want to keep it around Tarkir, you want to, make it not too strong, then Ureni is going to be the better option to kind of have there as the commander. So going through, the big thing that I kind of worked on here was better dragons, additional ways to be able to cheat out dragons as well, because we're not going to always have Ureni out. So I think additional ways to cheat out dragons is a good idea, especially because Miirym kind of works alongside them. And then just more ramp. The precon kind of talked about ramp and stuff and talked about, ramping up into big dragon stuff, but it didn't really have a huge amount of ramp. So I kind of worked on that a little bit. So let's go through. First up, we've got Minion of the Mighty, which is a great one for cheating our dragons whenever it attacks. If you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater, you get to put a dragon card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Just additional cheating out dragons is good. I kind of like the Minion of the Mighty, depending on what you're kind of going up against. It's good. It's not going to get bigger. It's most likely just going to stay as 0-1, but it's 0-1 with Menace, and I just find it fun to swing this 0-1 with Menace at people and then just cheat out a huge dragon out attacking. We've got Smuggler's Surprise here. We can use it to cheat out 2 dragons from our hand by paying 6 there, but you've also got the additional Hexproof and Indestructible here, as well as the fact that you've got that mill there. If you're finding you don't have enough stuff in your hand, you can use this to mill 4 and then put 2 of them back into your hand as long as they're lands or creatures. We're going to have mostly lands and creatures here, so it's going to work well here. We've got Goblin Anarchomancer. Most of our cards are going to be red and green. I did kind of move and add in some more green and a little bit of blue stuff in here because the precon was very red heavy. You might want to adjust the mana base after playing with it a little bit, but I did add, a bunch of more kind of green and blue stuff, but still there is a bunch of red dragons. Dragons are naturally going to be pretty red, and some people have pointed this out when I showed my Miirym deck. Dragons are pretty red naturally, but there is a lot of really good dragons that aren't red, and this is still going to work well with the green ones too. We've got the Scaled Nurturer here, just a green mana dork, right? I like it. It's a good mana dork. I would kind of put in like a Delighted Halfling as well, but Delighted Halflings are already pretty expensive up there. While this is just going to be a nice kind of mana dork that you can bring along and works alongside your dragons, allows you to be able to get some life gain as well. We've got Garruk's Uprising, which I'm shocked was not in the initial precon. We're going to get a bunch of triggers here from card draw. It's also going to give trample too, which is good. We've got the Draconic Muralist. So I like this one because I wanted to kind of tutor something, right? But I didn't want I think that Sarkhan's Triumph's a bit too expensive. This is an additional dragon to kind of bring out there. It's got that 4 power, which is nice too. And then whenever it dies, we're going to get a dragon from our library into our hand. And because we've got a few ways to be able to cheat things out, that's going to work well. We've got the Monster Manual. So 2 different versions, 2 different parts of this. One, you can send it off on an adventure by milling 5 and then returning a creature card from it to your hand. If you need creatures in your hands, great. Or this part here, which is the part that I find that I use like 95% of the time, you bring it out and then you pay 1 and a green, tap it, and put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Just cheat out your big dragons, right? So I think cheating out more big dragons is good, as well as just having that ramp to be able to do it in case you don't get up to them. We've got the Dragonhawk, Fate's Tempest, an amazing, amazing dragon. 1, it's going to get you a whole bunch of impulse draw, but then 2, on top of that, worst case scenario, you don't play those cards, you are going to be able to deal damage out to people. I really like it. It's great. And in a deck that is going to have a bunch of creatures that are 4 power or greater, it's going to be amazing. Return of the Wild Speaker, we've either got a huge amount of card draw or we've got a big buff. Great for both. And then Miirym. So Miirym, as I said, I think that Miirym easily works as a commander for this deck and would be a great commander for this deck, but is also quite strong. If you sit down with a Miirym deck, people are going to know what's going on because you're just going to double each dragon that enters the battlefield as well. You don't even need to cast them. It just doubles all non-token dragons that enter the battlefield. And even legendaries. It's great. It's amazing. If you want to use Miirym as your commander, that would increase the deck again. But also, some people don't want to have their deck to be the strongest possible, in which case Miirym and the 99 is a good idea. We've got Savage Ventmaw here. As I said, we've got a bunch of big mana stuff. This is going to get us more big mana. Whenever it attacks, add 3 red, 3 green, and until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. You can also add in like an infinite combo here if you've got ways to be able to create treasures and stuff like that with the Hellkite Charger. Hellkite Charger is a good addition as well because, it's a dragon. It's got additional combats. Big combats for big dragons is always going to be good. We've got the Astral Dragon here, and I really, really wish this one was in the precon. It is surprisingly strong and has gone up a lot in price. I remember back a while ago, it was a lot cheaper than this. So it's going to have, whenever it enters, you're going to create 2 token copies of a non-creature permanent. So that's, your artifacts, your enchantments, and then you also, they are also going to be 3/3 dragons. Now, keep in mind that if you got Miirym out or something like that, you're going to double this. So then you're going to create, 4 of these copies. And you can choose people's soul rings. You can choose people's enchantments. You can copy your Garruk's Uprising if you wanted to. You could copy like your Dragon Tempest or something like that. There is a huge amount of uses for this. It is absolutely insane. I really, really wish that was printed in the precon as well. Just like, I think I talked about this when I did the initial launch video for the precon. I really wish that they added in just more dragons that weren't just red, like, something like this. And then finally, we've got the Earthquake Dragon here. So this is a great dragon. It is very expensive, 14 and a green. However, it costs less based off of the total mana value for dragons you control. Keep in mind that if you've got Miirym and Miirym has created a token copy of something, that token copy still has its mana value. So, if you've got, say, 2 token copies of 2 6 costs, then that's going to reduce it by 12. All of a sudden, this is a 2 and a green to play a 10/10 with flying and trample. It's great. Absolutely amazing. I love the this art for it. I've got this art for it in my Miirym deck, and it is a really, really great card. Into our cuts in here, most of our cuts are going to be dragons that I was just not a huge fan of. So if we go in here and we scroll down to the bottom here, we've got a lot of dragon cards. Dragon Master Outcast, just I don't think does enough for the deck. We've got Dragon Master Servant. I kind of switched over to just more generic-y kind of ramp that's still strong instead of the Dragon Lord Serpent there. Zenith Festival's good, but I think I'd rather have more consistent draw with like Garruk's Uprising and stuff. And as I said about the dragons, we just kind of cut a few of the dragons that just weren't as great, or, isn't even a dragon with a Taurine Mauler. I don't know. Why would you put a shapeshifter? There are so many great dragons out there, and they decide to put a shapeshifter in here. Yeah. I've also cut Spit Flame here because I just think that there's better stuff in the deck for removal and everything. Even if we go into, we've got Storm's Wrath, we've got the Blasphemous Act there for removal, and then in the actual instance, we've got a bunch of removal. Rapid Hybridization, we've got Beast Within, we've got Reality Shift, and we've got Chaos Warp, right? Like, there is a bunch of removal in here that I just think deal 4 damage for 3 with, you could bring it back from your graveyard. I just don't think it's kind of worthwhile having it as a slot in here. I also am not a huge fan of Steel Hellkite. I just think it's expensive. It's good removal, but I just don't think it's like worthwhile in here. And then Verix is like, you got to pay 3 extra. And because of the fact we're going to have a lot of stuff to cheat things in, we're not going to be really wanting to cast our dragons for, you know, what, 5, 6, 7, cast in for 7 to create 2 4/4s. Yeah, I think we've got better options than that. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys as to what you think. I really like, I really like Ureni. Definitely going to pick one up for my Miirym deck. And I do think that if you do switch this deck over to Miirym as your commander, you're going to be a hell of a lot happier, but also a hell of a lot stronger and potentially, getting into the arch enemy kind of stuff there. I think that once these changes happen, I'm actually like, if this was the deck the way it came, I would be so happy with this deck, even if they didn't include Miirym. It would be great. But let me know what you guys think. Have a great day and goodbye.